Hi y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you like to hear someone talk about cats, rats, dogs, and reptiles, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe buttons down below. I feel like now that we are completely settled in and moved into the new home, by the time you guys are watching this video, there will not be any more pre-filmed videos in the old house, but I do need to go ahead and update you guys on a few of my pets, and some of them you just won't be seeing anymore on this channel. The first one being Morticia, my tokay gecko. I absolutely love Morticia. I still have access to her to this day. She is alive, she is well, she is thriving. I did decide to rehome her to a really, really good friend of mine. My friend and her boyfriend have experience with tokay geckos. They love her. She's beautiful. They were actually, or my friend was with me the day that I picked up Morticia from the rescue. But for me personally, I have 110% respect for an animal who is just beautiful and an observation pet. I can deal with that. But Morticia, I couldn't even handle her to do like wellness checks on her. And that made me become obsessive and overthinking and all kinds of those like cycling behaviors that I didn't really want to have to worry about when I knew that she could go to a much more experienced handler who could just deal with that a little bit better. Like I said, Morticia was a tokay gecko, stunningly beautiful tokay gecko. She just had a lot of, she was very true to being a tokay. Yes, I rehomed a tokay and not an iguana. The difference being the iguana is actually technically my husband's lizard, not really mine, and the iguana is very much, what's the word, familiar with my husband. No, the iguana's not a huge fan of me either for some reason. It kind of makes me mad because I want the iguana to love me so much. But she definitely favors my husband. But anyways, we still have the iguana. I rehomed Morticia. Sometimes it's totally okay to rehome animals if you feel like someone else can give them a better home and you start to feel guilty about it. Don't hold on to an animal because you feel bad about it. Like, if you're worrying about it to the point that you're worrying about the animal, go ahead and rehome them to someone who has the experience and can deal with it. Another update for you guys. This past summer, while trying to get the home that we moved out of ready to sell so that we could move into this home, we ended up having to replace the AC unit. The AC went out for several days. All the animals were fine and well and dandy. We found ways to cool and heat them properly, and that we didn't have to heat anybody, but to cool them down properly in that time per species for their needs. The reptiles were easy in that case. The rats, we actually just like gave them frozen glass jars and stuck them in their hammocks, like lined in a sock, and they loved it. They lounged on them like crazy. They couldn't chew through the glass. It was super easy. However, I did not think about my beta tanks. I had Marley and two little aquatic frogs in a 7.5 gallon fully planted tank. And yes, I fed and watered. Yes, I fed them every day, but I was not checking temperatures like I was for my other animals. The AC was only out for a few days, but they don't really make it a priority in Texas when the AC is out unless there's elderly or like little infant babies. So you kind of have to wait your turn. And I didn't think to check my tropical fish tanks. Now, Marley's tank, I think there actually might have been a heater malfunction because the water was over 90 degrees. I feel 110% horrible for this, absolutely. But the water was a little over 90 degrees. Ideally, I kept my tanks at 80 to 82 degrees for my betas. So I feel like the heater malfunctioned, or maybe it just warmed up so much faster in the house. But Marley did not make it, even for the AC to come back on. And then in my divided beta tank, it was almost just as disastrous. I immediately saw Marley's, was like, oh my God, went to the other tank. I put a fan on the top of it, unplugged their heater just in case. The heaters were set to turn off when they were supposed to turn off. I don't know. The temperature was definitely not as hot in my divided tank. It was a 20-gallon long, so there was a lot more water there. Put a fan over the top of it because that was really all I could do in that case. I didn't want to put ice cubes in there just for the simple fact that they are a tropical species and I didn't want to mess too much of a temperature difference. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think the stress of the drastic temperature changes anyways ended up getting to a few of them. I have 2 of them left, so I did lose, I'm sorry. Yeah, so I did lose 2 of them from the divided tank. So I only have 2 of those guys left. And I'm trying to think of if there were any more animal updates I needed to give you guys. Oh, there is one. And this one absolutely breaks my heart. Like, you know, Morticia, I feel like I just did what was best for her. She needed someone who was more experienced with tokay geckos, and, you know, she wasn't really handleable by me. And my husband actually had a hard time handling her too, and he does a lot better. Like I said, the iguana does really well with him, but he had a hard time with her too. She was a vicious tokay gecko. The betas, absolutely, I was at fault there. I mean, it was an honest mistake. I was 110% at fault for it though, and lesson absolutely learned. And then my frog, Clover, I did a few videos of him. I had an unboxing video with Clover, and he came to me with what I thought was a swollen eye upon further inspection, asking tons of other amphibian keepers and stuff that I'm friends with. It turns out that it was like more like his eyelid just never properly developed. Now, all of my white stray frogs are healthy except for Clover. I got them all healthy except for Clover. I really feel like it was an honest mistake being sent to Clover in the first place with the eye issue. But his eyelid just never fully developed, so he was never able to open that eye. And then I did a video where I showed you guys I was grabbing him out of the tank and moving him into a quarantine tank, and I did that just to see if he was able to hunt food on his own or if he needed to be tongue fed, because the other frogs were growing significantly larger than him and he really needed to be separated at that point anyways. But very soon after I moved him into his own enclosure, he did end up passing. I am still not really sure what it was. I never really felt the need to take him to the vet because I just thought that it was like an eye deformity, and he was eating from tongs 110%. He was not hunting on his own, but he was eating from tongs and he was pooping normal. It all looked normal, so I'm willing to bet that it was just not in the cards for him, which is unfortunate. But also, I think sometimes something like that is unpreventable and it just happens. So, sorry if this is a super awkward video. I don't like talking about these things. That's why it's taken me this long to make this video, but I wanted a very transparent and honest, clean slate moving forward when I start showing you guys the animals in this home and the plans for them, and just to go ahead and have a video to refer you guys back to if you had any other questions. So please be kind. Mistakes are always going to happen, and you just have to learn from those mistakes and move on. But sorry it's not a fun video, and see you guys next time.